Welcome everyone to our Stronger Foundations webinar series. My name is Heather Kerber and I'm Clinical Operations Manager with PhysioCare at Home. We do encourage all participants to ask questions throughout the presentation. You can use your chat box on your screen to type any questions that you may have. And if you'd like to practice using the chat box now, you can go ahead and type in the location where you are joining us from. There will be a question and answer period at the end if your question requires a more in-depth response. However, we will be taking questions throughout the webinar as well. We are very excited about the participatory components of our webinar today, and I'd like to remind you to have on comfortable footwear and clothing if you plan to participate. Today's webinar is a free educational presentation, and we are not able to individually assess or prescribe treatment during this presentation period. Please feel free to observe throughout the optional participation components. And of course, we always recommend speaking with your physician to determine if exercise is safe for you. We look forward to telling you more about our virtual and our in-home services. Our hope for today is that you will walk away with something new you have learned that you can implement into your daily life. With that, I'm now going to turn it over to one of our physiotherapists, Leslie D'Apollonia.
All right, thank you, Heather, and good morning, afternoon, and evening to all of you. We are on the East Coast today, and it is sunny, so we're all righty. So today's topic is movement is medicine, and with movement is medicine, there are numerous studies that show the benefits of physical activity. And other things that we want to highlight is movement can really help increase your flexibility. It can help those stiff, achy joints feel better, those arthritic knees. It can help loosen up your joints, make you feel better, increase your blood flow, as well as help with depression, manage diabetes. There are numerous studies that have shown the benefits. Oftentimes I will say to my clients, I'll say, if physical activity was in a pill form, we would be the healthiest population, but unfortunately it's not like that. So movement really is the key to health. Alrighty, so my name is Leslie D'Apollonia. I'm a physiotherapist and community care leader with PhysioCare at Home. I have a bachelor's degree in kinesiology and in physiotherapy. I'm bone fit trained, so I'm trained with working individuals with osteoporosis. My clinical areas of interest are geriatrics, post-operative rehabilitation, respiratory rehabilitation, so individuals with lung conditions, and vestibular rehab. Alrighty, so let's talk about some negative stereotypes associated with aging. So over here on our column on the left here, we sometimes hear these comments, maybe from our peers or our neighbors or even family members. And as we age, they might say, slow down and be careful. You're too old to get strong or make gains in strength. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. So these are what we call negative aging stereotypes. And we really want to shift that mentality over to the column on the right side, where we have this approach to the PhysioCare at Home mentality. And we know that exercise is an essential component of successful aging. Age really is just a number. A 55-year-old can act and appear as a 75-year-old. It really is just a number. New skills can be learned at any age. And with the correct guidance and supervision, most forms of exercise, such as weightlifting and resistance training, can be learned. And to give just an example of new skills can be learned at any age, I was working with a client and he's 88 years old. He had never done lunges before. And just after 6 weeks of training with him, he was doing weighted lunges. So new skills can be learned. 88 years old, age is just a number. Alrighty, so our foundational beliefs. The importance of prioritizing our bone health. Exercise is an important step towards protecting your spine, and in physio language, we call this spine sparing. So it can slow down the rate of bone loss, build muscle, which in turn can prevent falls from happening. We believe that you can exercise at any age, and we can be the link to providing safe and effective exercise. So if we think about these specific activities, picking up laundry baskets, or playing with your grandchildren, picking up toys, tying your shoes, sweeping or raking, getting out of bed, moving a box. In all of these activities, I really want you to think about your posture and how are you protecting your spine. It is crucial so that we can prevent things like compression fractures from happening, which we'll talk a little bit more about in detail. Alrighty, so this slide here highlights just some facts on osteoporosis. And osteoporosis is a condition that affects the bones. And what happens is the bones become porous and thin. And it's because there is a mismatch. So the cells that are building up your bone tissue aren't working as adequately as the cells that are breaking down your bone tissue. So you end up with thin bone. And if you were to fall, you are more at risk for fracture. It's relatively common. In fact, 2 million Canadians are affected with osteoporosis. And it doesn't just affect women, but also men. So 1 in 3 women are affected with osteoporosis. 1 in 5 men will suffer an osteoporotic fracture during their lifetime. So other things about osteoporosis, over 80% of fractures in people 50 years and above are caused by osteoporosis. So it is very, very common, far too common. In fact, a lot of times people don't even know they have osteoporosis until they have a fall and they get an x-ray and it's result, hey, by the way, you have osteoporosis. So it's very, very important that we focus on preventative measures. Believe it or not, men and women begin to lose their bone density in their mid-30s. So with exercise and guidance, you can actually slow down this rate and focus on your posture and preventing compression fractures. So compression fractures are fractures that occur in your spine, and it's as a result of individuals who have osteoporosis, and eventually you'll see this curved posture occur. And it's crucial why we want to think about our posture. We're going to go through an activity just in a moment on how to correct that. Alrighty, so if you are sitting, if you would like to stand, you can stand, but I want you to have both feet on the floor. So if you are sitting at a computer chair or a sofa, just make sure both of your feet are on the floor. Alrighty, now take your back off the chair rest. Okay. Already you'll notice that your posture improved. Okay. And from here, I want you to imagine that you're standing or sitting 2 inches taller. Okay. You'll notice that your shoulders go back and down. Very good. Okay, we're not hiking our shoulders. And so your shoulders are going back and down. Feel free to practice or comment in the chat box, see how this feels. Other ways that you can imagine, you show off a necklace or a bow tie. Okay, so you're imagining that your sternum here, that your chest is lifting. Or if your collarbones, imagine that your collarbones are wings and that they're flying off. So feel free to comment and let us know how you feel, how that makes you feel. Alrighty. So why are we doing this? Alrighty, we want to get strong so we avoid injury and exhaustion. We can think about this as our 1 repetition max living. So this is when the demands of our life, of our daily life, are near or exceeding our maximum capacity. And if your 1 repetition max, let's say the maximum amount of effort you can do in 1 time, let's say is 10 pounds, but your laundry basket weighs 15 pounds. So every time you go and lift the laundry basket, you're potentially putting yourself at risk for injury and exhaustion throughout the day if we were to repeat that multiple times. So exercise does need to be graded and gradual and progressive. We can help you increase your endurance and your strength and provide education on how to ensure that living your daily life does not leave you feel exhausted, burnt out, or injured. All right, so thinking about activities of your daily life, lifting laundry baskets, carrying grocery bags, lifting a pot roast or a heavy pot of water, getting up from sitting, or getting onto the floor. Reflect on these activities and think about, does any of these activities, or do any of these activities really take the best out of you? Just at a show of hands, you can even comment, can everybody get down on the floor safely? You can comment in the chat box. Falls do not count. So getting down safely, it is crucial. When we are thinking of fall prevention, it is crucial to know how to get down safely and practice so you build your endurance. Getting down so you can get back up. Alrighty. Now, older adults need more physical activity. And this is shown oftentimes when programs are created for older adults, they're often too easy. And we know that research has demonstrated the necessity of resistance training. So walking is not enough. We need to perform strength training so that we can build bone health, build strong muscles. And it's crucial that we do those two things so we can prevent falls from happening. Those who are consistent with exercise and movement make the most gains in their physical health and fitness. So leading into that mentality, consistency is key. Daily movement and postural awareness will improve an older adult's ability to maintain and remain independent in their community. So learning how to effectively exercise while protecting your spine is essential if you've been diagnosed with osteoporosis. Alrighty. So in today's webinar, it is an interactive webinar, and we are going to practice a balance test. So we're going to go over this outcome measure. This is called the 4-stage balance test. We have a video. Everyone, please feel comfortable. If not, no pressure. You can sit this one out, but we're going to be testing your balance today, and this is going to give you a score, which you can later compare at a different time. So we have a short video here for you.
I'm going to show you how to test your standing balance using a simple test called the 4-stage balance test. Now, I'm going to show you the 4 different stages that are included here, and then we'll go through it together. So, first stage, simply feet together, side by side, as close as you can bring them. You're standing tall. If you need some support to get into the positioning, that is fine. But then, of course, you need to let go and see if you're able to hold this position for 10 seconds, all right? So 10 seconds is the goal in each stage. Now, your arms, if you put them across your chest, that will be more challenging for you, but that's great if you can hold it in that position. If your arms are moving a little bit or flailing or your body's moving, that's okay. We're just looking to see if you're able to hold this position for 10 seconds before needing to step out of the position, okay? And without holding on with your arms. All right, so that's the first stage. Second stage, a little bit more challenging, is called the semi-tandem position. So that front foot, the instep, should be touching the back foot big toe. So it's just semi-tandem position. And you're, again, standing tall, trying to keep this position for 10 seconds without holding on or stepping out of it, okay? Arms can be across your chest or just in air, all right? Third position goes to a more challenging position called the tandem stance. Now, as if you're standing on a tightrope, one foot is directly in front of the other with that front heel touching the back toes, okay? Again, we're looking for 10 seconds, seeing if you can hold the position without stepping out of the position and without holding on with your arms, okay? So then the fourth and final position is standing on one leg. You can choose which leg you want to stand on, and you simply lift the other foot off the ground. You don't need to bring it up high, just lifting it slightly off the ground. Again, if you need some support to get into the position, that's fine, but then let go, and we'll put the 10-second timer on and see if you're able to hold that position for 10 seconds. Now, it's important you're not bracing your leg with the lifted leg, okay? And you're keeping those separate and just putting all your weight through that standing leg, all right? Now those are the 4 stages. If you're not able to reach 10 seconds in a previous stage, then stop there. You don't need to progress. But I want you to record down what you were able to do and how long you were able to hold each position through the test. Now, if you're able to accomplish 10 seconds on each stage and it's relatively easy, no big deal, that's great. Then I want to challenge you to stand on one leg and see if you can hold it for 30 seconds, or at least time how much longer beyond 10 seconds are you able to hold it, all right? And record that. And then we're going to do this test again at the end and see how you have made progress, all right? So let's get to it. We're going to put 10 seconds on the clock for the first stage. So reminder, feet are together. Again, be next to a wall, in front of a chair, or corner of a countertop in your kitchen. That is a nice safe place. Now, feet together, core is engaged, and we're going to put 10 seconds on the clock in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And you're just trying to hold this position. Again, if you need to use your arms a little bit in the air. And that was 10 seconds. Good job. All right, so if you were able to accomplish that, no issues. You didn't have to step out. If you did have to step out of the position, then just record at what time. Was it at 3 seconds or 4 seconds? And so you can record that so you have it down for when we retest. All right, now second positioning. We're into that semi-tandem position. So that front instep is next to the big toe, right? So find your positioning. If you need a little support getting into it, that's fine. Make sure you're standing tall, tummy tight. Decide where you want your hands, but of course not touching anything. All right, we're gonna put 10 seconds on the clock in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Hold that position. Good work. And that is time. Well done. Okay, so, and it doesn't matter which foot you decided to put forward, okay? You just figure out which one feels more comfortable. All right, we're going into that third position, which is the full tandem stance. So one foot goes directly in front of the other foot, front heel touching the toes of the back foot. Find the positioning, use support if you need to get into it, but then we're lifting the hands off any support, holding this position for 10 seconds, all right? So here we go, 3, 2, 1, 10 seconds on the clock. Good work. Excellent job, almost there, and 10 seconds, well done. Shake it off. Now again, recording, if you weren't able to hold it for the full 10 seconds, that's okay. That's where you are, and that's completely fine. So just make sure you know, okay, when did you have to step out of the position if it was under 10 seconds. All right, and you're gonna record that down so you have it for when we retest things. Again, you can do this test on your own with your own stopwatch, of course. All right, so now we're moving into the fourth and final stage of this test, which is simply standing on one leg. So you can decide again which leg you want to stand on, and you're simply going to lift the other foot off the ground, but remembering you're not bracing the legs together. They should be separate. All of your weight is just on that standing leg, nice and tall, engage that core, okay? So if you need some help to get into the position, that's okay. Let go. And I'm gonna put 10 seconds on the clock in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 10 seconds on the clock. This one's a bit more challenging. Good. And that was 10. Well done. All right. Now, I'm going to give you an opportunity. If you were able to get through those 4 stages, 10 seconds, no problem, then I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock for this very last round of a single leg stance. Now, it may not apply to you, and that's okay. All right. But what I want you to try, you decide which foot you want to be standing on, which foot you want to lift off the ground. And again, we're just going to see if you're able to hold it for 30 seconds, okay? So let's get ourselves ready. Shake it out if you need to. And I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and 30 seconds on the clock. Here we are. And see if you can hold this positioning. You may feel your foot, your ankle, the muscles are working hard to hold you there. Good job. Not holding on. If you have to tap your foot down or tap a hand down, then look at what time you had to do that and record that. Almost to 30 seconds. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Well done. So if you're able to accomplish 30 seconds, great. All right. You are doing fantastic with your standing static balance. Now there's other parts of our balance that will be challenging through a program, but this is a great start in terms of testing where you're at so we can know where we need to go. All right, we'll see you in the next video for the next test.
All right, so lots of good tips there, and that video was actually a little sneak peek at our online exercise program. And the video really showed the progression of how balance exercise can happen. So it's important to remember that this is your starting point. This is today, day 1 starting point. And if you weren't able to hold all of those positions, that is okay. This is how you start. This is how we know where you need to focus on and how you improve and where to start. So how did we do? What do the results mean? Were you able to maintain each position for 10 seconds? Were you able to hold the tandem stance, so that one foot in front of the other for 10 seconds? And what does this mean? So research does show if you're an individual that cannot hold tandem stance, so one foot in front of the other for 10 seconds, you are at a greater risk of falling due to balance issues. So very important that we want to practice our balance, because we know there are so many falls as we age. We always hear lots of falls, and it's usually related to balance issues and strength issues. So we can affect those things. We can change those things. Why is this relevant? Balance. Thinking about activities that we use balance in our everyday lives all the time. All the time. If you're getting dressed, walking is a form of balance. Standing at the stove, cooking, chopping vegetables, that is all balance activities. Even more challenging ones, okay, if you're to stand on one leg, right? So getting dressed, okay? lifting your leg to get dressed to put the pants on, that is all part of balance. All right, we're going to go over a fundamental exercise called the hip hinge, or the deadlift if we were to add some weight. So this is another great exercise on how we can work on balance and how we can make sure that we are protecting our spine when we are doing this. So we have a quick little video here to show you.
I'm going to teach you a foundational exercise called the hip hinge. Learning to bend at your hips rather than your spine is super important, and it's going to help protect your back and strengthen your buttock muscles during movements like picking things up off of the floor. All right, here's the how-to. I want you to stand nice and tall with your tummy tight, your back as straight as you can get it. Now, you might find it helpful to use a broomstick or a wooden dowel like I have here, and just place it from the back of your head, just down the center of your back, right to your buttocks. Ideally, you should have the back of your head, your mid-back, and the top of your buttocks touching the dowel or the broomstick. Now, if you're not able to do that, that's okay, but just get a reference for where your spine is as straight as you can get it, okay? And that's what you want to do during the hip hinge. You want to keep it in that position, hinging at your hips, not letting your spine change position. All right, so that can be a helpful little tool to get you started. All right, I want you to find your hips, and then simply you're going to bend or hinge forward at your hips, just like this, and then stand back up, squeezing your buttocks as you stand up tall. Now, as you're bending at your hips, you want to just keep your knees soft or unlocked, just slightly bent. You may feel a pull along the back of your thighs, and that's okay. And you can try sliding your hands down your thighs towards your knees and beyond if possible. Now notice my eyes, they should be looking toward the floor and then towards my feet as I slide down further. They should not be looking at the wall in front of me. So I don't want your chin poking forward, looking forward, but rather following. Your gaze should follow the movement of the rest of your body. All right? So it's really as if you're bowing, right? Just bowing. You're hinging and bending at the hips and then standing tall again. Everything from the hips up should stay in the exact same position it was when you were standing, okay? You can also try using a chair or a countertop if you need a little extra support as you practice this hip hinge, all right? So if you just need to hold on to something, that's perfectly fine, but same principles apply where you're just hinging at your hip, looking toward the floor as you do so, trying to keep your back as straight and solid as you can throughout. You could also try standing just in front of a wall, about a foot away from the wall, and doing the same movement, either sliding your hands down your thighs or holding on to something for support. And as you hinge at your hips, your buttock should just slightly touch the wall, and that'll just assure you that you're moving in the right way. All right, and then when you stand up from the position, making sure you're using your buttock muscles to get you back up into the upright position. All right, so ways that you can progress this when you're starting this, it's gonna take some time to really figure it out, make sure you're doing it correctly. You could always use a mirror as well. But you may just start with a really small bend, right? Where you're just sliding the hands down to the mid-thigh. And as you progress and master the movement, then you'll be able to go a little bit further, sliding the hands down a little bit further and bending further forward at the hips, all right? You could also try something called a modified golfer's reach, which you will see throughout our program in the Standing Strong exercise program. And that's simply your feet are in the staggered stance, and you're simply going to do the same thing, hinging at your hips as you reach toward the floor and then standing tall again. So there's some different ways that you can do the same movement, the hinging at the hip, in different positions. Finally, and you will certainly see this throughout the program, then we're going to add some weights, so some resistance to that hip hinge, which then we start to call a deadlift, where we're holding the weight in front of us, letting the weight slide down toward the floor in between our ankles, and then standing back up tall. So I look forward to seeing you throughout the Standing Strong program, and I hope that you work on mastering this very important movement. We'll see you soon.
Alrighty, so how did that feel? Again, the hip hinge and the deadlift exercise can be modified and progressed very easily just by adding weight, changing your stance into that golfer's reach. So lots of good tips in that video. And remember, it's very important that exercise is challenging and progressive. Remember, if we keep doing the same activity, we are not making improvements. We are actually maintaining. So it has to be challenging and it has to change, it has to be progressive. Alrighty, how can you start today? So you can actually start this exercise, the hip hinge exercise, just as we learned, 8 to 10 repetitions, 2 times per day. Make it challenging. You can bend a little lower, okay? You can add some resistance, all right? It should be challenging. The last 2 repetitions of the motion should be challenging. You can stagger your stance is another way. Ways to make it lighter. You can add a chair in front of you, okay, and bend down, hip hinge down. So you're tapping the chair with your hands and coming back up. So you're not going as further, not going as low to the ground. All right, tying everything together, and how does this all relate? By following the foundational beliefs, prioritizing your bone health every day, getting stronger to avoid injury and exhaustion, knowing where to receive specialized guidance and support, you're on track to understanding that progress is possible and that movement is medicine. Other ways you can take action and prove movement is medicine. Schedule a time to exercise. Find a time that works best for you. If that's morning or afternoon, commit to your health, commit to your exercise. Okay? Make it matter. Exercise at a moderate intensity, moderate to high intensity for short bursts, such as 10 minutes. Work hard, the last repetitions. So enough that you can't carry out a conversation. Walking isn't enough, but it's a start to make it count. So if we think of walking, you want to walk at a speed that is challenging. There's a famous test, the Sing, Talk, Walk test. And if you're walking and you can sing a song, then it is too easy. If you're walking and you can carry on a conversation, that's just right. If you're walking and you're huffing and puffing and you can't even speak a sentence, that's too difficult. So just thinking about those motions can help identify your correct intensity. Already, this slide is the Too Fit to Fall and Fracture slide. This is from Osteoporosis Canada, and it's telling us the guidelines. So the guidelines for strength training is twice a week, and you should exercise the major muscle groups of your body. Balance exercise should be performed every day. Postural awareness is every day, thinking about that spine sparing and picking something up off the ground correctly with a straight back, as straight as possible. And aerobic physical activity. And the guideline is exercising or walking, such as brisk walking, dancing, aerobics class, swimming. These are all exercises that challenge your heart and lung function. And it should be about 150 minutes per week. It breaks up to 30 minutes 5 times a week. If that is too intense to do a consecutive 30 minutes 5 times a week, then you can do it in short bursts of 10 minutes. Alrighty, the next few slides are about our Standing Strong Fitness program. This is a program that is online and geared towards older adults. You can head over to our website, strongerathome.com, to find out a little more information. And if you're wondering, is this program right for me? If you're someone that's interested in becoming stronger and more fit, someone that if you live independently in your community, that you don't rely on a walking aid, such as a rollator, you've been advised and cleared to exercise regularly. You're looking for a safe, guided, research-based program, and maybe if you've been recently diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis, this program could be right for you. And so what it is an 8-week-long exercise program. You'll meet online and you choose your time. Once you have access to the videos, you can choose your time that works best for you and you go at your pace. You'll meet, the exercises are twice a week for an hour each time, and it runs for 8 weeks long. We do have a summer promotion of $49. It's a one-time purchase for a lifetime access. And again, you choose the videos, you choose the time or the day that works best for you. For example, I prefer working out on a Monday and Wednesday, then I choose those days. Alrighty, so upcoming webinar, be sure to join us for our next webinar, Consistency is Key, on Thursday, August 31st at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Mountain time, and 2 p.m. Atlantic time. So in our webinar, Consistency is Key, we're going to be practicing the floor transfer, so getting down and up from the ground safely. You can head over to strongerathome.com for more information on how to register for the Standing Strong program. I'm going to pass it over to Heather for some final words. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Leslie, for your presentation. And thank you, everyone, for participating today. We'd love to know how you did, and we'd love to know what's your one takeaway from today's presentation. Following this webinar, you will receive an email in your inbox with more information on the Stronger at Home program. If you don't happen to see that in your inbox, please check your junk folder. It may have ended up there. In the meantime, if you are interested in finding more about our physiotherapy services or our Stronger at Home in-person programming, please give us a call or check out our website here on the screen. Thank you so much for attending this webinar today. Remember that movement is medicine, and we wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.